So here we are outside of the Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama. Now, I gotta say, I'm geeking out. My inner nerd is totally sparked. Things are lighting up. My son and I are here, and we are super excited. So let's go ahead, go in, and explore. Billed as the Earth's largest space museum, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center opened in 1970, just after the Apollo 12 moon landing. As such, the museum showcases some truly breathtaking exhibits from the entire Apollo space program. It's actually home to one of a very few Saturn V test vehicles. Plus, this museum is highly interactive, thanks to the fact that it's home to U.S. Space Camp, which you'll learn all about a little bit later in this video. And you're going to see it all, because we're going to take you with us. So strap in and get ready to blast off into space with my son Hayden and I. So Hayden and I are now here in the back of the museum, and out here you have actual spacecraft and some replicas that were launched into space. And it's quite incredible. I mean, the scale and the scope of this museum are just super impressive. You'll see everything from actual vehicles that were shot off to military copters and a whole bunch of other things. The important things about this museum, and actually our whole space program, is it started off with Army missiles and our rocket program, which is why this is called the U.S. Space and Rocket Museum. And so you'll even see things that include military vehicles, you'll see rockets that were built, and a lot of it's rusted. It's been sitting out here for a long time. I mean, I've been coming to this museum since I was just a kid, and Hayden came here again in space camp when he was a little guy, and you see the same vehicles. And so no tourist attraction or museum is complete without having rides, and this one has lots of them. This particular museum has this drop zone that's over our shoulder, the kind of place that shoots people up and then drops them down super quick. Yeah. There's also a bunch of different rides. I think you're gonna go on a few of them.
G-Force one over there, this will just spin you around and around and around.
That's the kind that makes me puke, so I'm not gonna go on it, but this guy is. He's a little more brave than I am. And
brave, crazy, who knows?
Brave, crazy. They're kind of the same thing sometimes.
Yeah, fine line.
Help me, this was a bad idea. I feel like it's gonna just shoot up. Whoa, that's what it did. Whoa! Okay. I just squirtled myself. Earlier, I mentioned Space Camp. The kids and even adults come to learn what it's like to be an astronaut. If you're a fan of 1980s nostalgia, you may remember the movie Space Camp, which was filmed right here at the real Space Camp facility. The movie followed students of the camp, plus it had its very own R2-D2 type robot character named Jinx. While Jinx was nowhere to be found at the museum, Hayden actually ran into him at a separate conference last year. As I mentioned earlier, Hayden went to Space Camp when he was a Cub Scout. We only did a 2-day trip, but the camp offers fully immersive trips that last between 3 and 12 days. While much of the camp facility is closed to the public, we were sure to check out the parts we could get into. So we headed straight for the life-size replica of the International Space Station's Payload Operations Integration Center, which camp students use to practice what it's like to live, work, and experiment in space. We spent a bunch of time in the ISS, learning about everything from what astronauts eat to the types of tools they use during their experiments.
If I'm touching this with my hands, I'm basically already dead. I mean, oh yeah, the gloves, if I don't have gloves on in here.
You don't exactly have gloves in there.
Oh God. Come on, put them up.
Yeah, he wants to go. Man, I gotta go potty. Oh, this is perfect.
It's a tube.
It's just what we were looking for.
It's a vacuum, basically.
All right, I'm gonna go.
It's just a vacuum. See all the Velcro?
That's like a sleeping pod. You Velcro yourself in on the right. You can play on computers and stuff, and then you have your food and stuff.
All your food and water, because it all goes to everything's on Velcro. That's how we stay space. That's so cool.
So this is definitely all the space camp stuff. You come in here, you do all the training, you get to do these zero-G chairs. So these zero-G chairs are really cool. You get into one of these, and then you move around as if you were in zero-G, and you get to go around and fix parts of the ship. All right, we're here in the VR center, and we're gonna do a couple of really cool VR type of experiences. One of them is gonna be called the multi-axis trainer, where it's gonna flip us around and throw us around. I think I got it. Not so sure about Hayden. This is to help you train to know, in case you spin out of control in a spaceship, whether you can handle it or not.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Go for about 1 minute.
I think what this really tests is whether you're going to vomit by spinning a lot or not. Okay.
Good so far?
Good so far.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. About 1 minute.
Whoa! Is it the heavier you are, the faster you move around? All right, so we survived the multi-axis trainer. I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little sick at the moment, but
A little dizzy.
it was pretty good. You did
awesome.
great, man. We're gonna do this one here next, which is basically, it looks like you're flying like an F-14 Tomcat or something like that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that'd be really cool.
Whatever it is, it's a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure that Hayden was gonna puke and I was gonna be okay before we started, and now I'm starting to think that I'm gonna puke and Hayden's gonna be fine. So
I
maybe
feel
not
like
the way.
it's
This is the Saturn V. It's huge, and it is the first and only rocket that actually propelled man to the moon. This is enormous, super huge. These are just the rockets up above me. And this thing goes for the length of the entire building, which I gotta say is pretty big. Doesn't do any justice when you see it in pictures or in film. It just is huge. And I keep walking and I never get to the end of it. And we finally reached the end, at the other end of this hangar. So cool. Let's walk down to it and see how far we've walked. So if you look all the way down at the other end there, past all the people, past everything else, that's how far we had to walk to get to the end. The rest of the Saturn V Museum was all about the Apollo program. You saw everything from different engines to different space capsules, and it was pretty interactive. I love the story of this one. This is an old Airstream trailer that was used for quarantining astronauts when they first came home. And what's really interesting about it is that it took on a second life. It actually lived at a fish hatchery. It was discovered there, then brought to this museum to be cleaned up and reconditioned. Going through the rest of the museum, we saw all kinds of things from spacesuits to 3D buildings. But one of the things I really enjoyed was the science fiction part of the museum, because they had toys from every generation. You had G.I. Joe, you had Star Wars, you had the Enterprise, but they even had things for the girls. So Barbie went to space, Cabbage Patch went to space, and even Luciana Vega went to space. We've done the whole museum now.
Yep.
And it was awesome. I mean,
was so
I would
cool.
totally recommend this to anybody, adult or child.
Agreed.
We've come at points when he was big and when he was little, and I've come at multiple points when I was little and now that I'm an adult, multiple times adult. So tips for me are, it's a little expensive to get in. It's maybe 30, 40 bucks a person, but it's worth it. And be sure to add on the IMAX and the planetarium too. It's just a few extra bucks, and they're super expensive. They're super cool, right?
Yeah.
We got to see that great planetarium show. It was live narrated by somebody, and it was funny. And we learned a lot about our solar system and the planets that live around us. So I would say definitely do the add-ons. Right now, at this very point in time, unfortunately, they're doing a lot of construction outside.
Yeah.
And the construction means that you can't see everything the way it's supposed to be set up. But later on in 2024, we're here in sort of the spring of 2024. Later on in 2024, this is is going to be all set. So
Yeah.
anybody who wants to come see it all in its renovated fashion will be able to check it out. The other thing that I would say is take your time. You know, I thought it was going to take us just a
Yeah.
couple hours to get through this with the two of us.
We're spending
We've
all
been
day.
here, I mean, probably 6-7 hours now,
Oh,
right?
at least.
Yeah, it's been a
And
long
it's
time.
awesome.
And every moment of it's been fun.
Yeah.
We did spend extra money on the sections where we were able to do like the VR experiences and simulations, and it was worth the money. You know, some of them were a little bit hokey, but really, if you can handle the motion sickness, which is
Yeah.
what's invariable with something like this, I'd say go ahead and do it. It's very much worth it.
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Hayden here is going to want to come back and do Space Camp maybe this summer. or next.
110%.
And there's this whole section behind us that we can't even check out, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because we're not in Space Camp, and there's just whole parts of this that are blocked off to non-Space Camp people. So I'd say maybe as an adult, even I want to go back to Space Camp. I think I do. Maybe we can come back and do it
I
together.
want to do Space Camp.
All right.
Sounds
well,
awesome.
Let's see what happens. I think tonight we go watch the Space Camp movie from 1985 or whenever it came out.
Back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Until then, we'll catch you guys later, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.